We are 2 levels below the ground, where Robert Tuggle oversees 129 years worth of Met materials, from costumes to photographs to news clippings and much more. Hi, Bob.
Hello.
Well, we're at intermission of Aida today. People are seeing the production we have on stage now, but you have so much great Aida memorabilia down here. We thought this would be a good time to come down and take a look at it. First, we should note today is the 1,129th performance of the show, and you've collected a lot of stuff. So why don't you tell us what you've got?
We have a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
We have costumes. We have documents, the first program from the performance in the 1880s. A lot of correspondence with singers about performing. A lot of photographs of 7 or 8 productions of Aida.
Right. The first one was in 1886, wasn't it?
86, okay.
Yeah, I looked it up myself. Now, I understand right behind us we have this beautiful, beautiful dress that has quite a story because quite an artist wore it. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, that's Leontine Price's costume from her farewell in Aida.
Oh,
and
what a performer.
It's interesting because in the 19th century, and the other costumes we have from early singers, they were all their own costumes, and they had them made, and they were designed to look more beautiful and more lavish than anybody else on stage.
And then she had this one designed specifically for her.
She's a throwback. She had a designer do it for her farewell. Normally, she would have worn the costume designed for the Frizzell production of Aida.
I love standing next to Leontine's costume that she wore in that famous farewell broadcast. And then next to that, we have this beautiful cape that also belonged to another great American diva of a few years earlier, don't we?
That's Louise Homer, and that's from around 1910. And she, of course, had all her own costumes, and her family gave them to us.
Now, right behind you here is a couple of other things. Why don't you tell us about those?
Well, this is Elizabeth Rethberg's costume. She had her own jewelry and costumes as well. She wore that in her performances of Aida. The headdress is a very ornate thing that Louise Homer wore in her art, I would think in the triumphal scene. And the tusk is a prop from the 1962 production. The triumphal scene, the entrance of Radames was lined with tusk on each side, and that's about as close as elephants got to the Met stage.
Now, behind you on the wall are some great photographs from the past. Why don't you tell us about a couple? Who's there at the top? I think I recognize him.
Oh, Gershwin.
Yeah.
That's a cover from 1935 in the premiere of Porgy and Bess.
And who's next to him here on the right?
Lawrence Melchior, the greatest Tristan.
And then below him?
Enrico Caruso in one of his last great roles, Samson.
It's Samson, wow. Now, what are some of the most unusual pieces you've acquired over the years?
Well, there are a lot of unusual pieces. The most valuable piece we have is jewelry that was left to us by the great Spanish soprano, Lucrezia Borri.
Oh, my.
It was part of a larger piece worn by the Empress Eugenie of France. And at Borri's farewell, some board members put money together and gave it to her.
So this is all diamonds. Wow. And tell us a little bit about that shield that's on the wall.
Well, that's been carried by a number of Met Brunhildes, but mainly Kirsten Flagstad before the war.
Kirsten Flagstad's shield as Brunhilde. Ho-yo to ho.
Exactly.
Exactly. Thanks, Bob, for talking to us.
Thank you.